everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Banish Shafi. I am an immigration consultant here in Canada, and today I wanted to talk to you guys about a different topic. This is about Canada to set the first ever cap on temporary residence. Okay, before we get started, please make sure that you check out my links below if you want to follow my TikTok or my Instagram. I have interesting topics there too. TikTok, I do try to post every day, so if you guys are interested on keeping up with the latest things that are happening, make sure you follow that as well. And if you guys want to support your girl, make sure you check out my Buy Me Coffee. And if you guys want to donate to support this channel, I would really appreciate it. And also pressing like and following me as well. So in the recent couple of months, there's been a lot of changes in regarding to international students and the temporary resident visas that are happening. And it seems like Honorable Marc Miller, who is the Minister of Immigration, Refugee, Citizenship Canada, is putting in another type of cap to, I guess, assist with certain things that are happening in Canada. And one of the biggest one is the housing crisis. So this article says that for the first time ever that the IRCC is limiting the number of temporary residents coming to Canada. This is going to apply to international students, work permit holders, and the temporary resident visas. For example, those who are coming for the tourist visas. So the Honorable Marc Miller did state that Canada plans to reduce the number of temporary residents individuals to 5% of the population, which is down from the 6.2%. So as of 2024, we had about 2.5 million temporary residents in Canada, and the Honorable Marc Miller wanted to reduce that so we can have a more sustainable growth. Now, does that really make sense? Yes, it does kind of make sense in the sense that we want to have a more sustainable growth. That doesn't mean that there won't be any temporary resident visas being issued. It just means that we're going in a slower pace. Now, what does that mean for applicants and those who want to, for example, come and work in Canada or want to study in Canada or even want to visit? Personally, from my understanding, it means that you will have to have a stronger application to be selected to come on a temporary resident visa. For example, you have to make sure that either way, your application has to be fully complete, but to have supporting documents as well. Basically, anything that will show that you are a very good candidate to come on a temporary resident. And that includes having enough financial support for yourself to come to Canada and leave. And that also includes for tourist visas. And also showing that you have a strong ties back to your home country. However, those aren't the only things that will make your application great. This is why I think it's a really good idea for you to get a legal representative, for someone who is experienced in this type of field and who can assist you. So this is kind of what it seems like it's going towards. Again, it does not mean that we are not, or Canada is not issuing TRVs or issuing work permits. It's more that you need to have a stronger application. This is also going to have some, I guess, social implications as well. For example, there are going to be many companies that do rely on foreign workers that will need to reduce their temporary foreign workers. For example, many farms do actually hire temporary foreign workers, especially seasonal ones, and this may actually factor into that stream of work as well. Now, there have been a lot of advocates who have stated that many of these foreign workers rely on this type of work to support their family, and many of them return back to their home country, and they're genuine applicants, which is completely understandable that many of these applicants, of course, they have been working here for many years, and it is a great way to support their family. Now, I'm not quite sure how this is actually going to factor in with the temporary foreign workers, because even the minister has mentioned that we have a labor shortage that we need to fill. Now, as part of new policy, officials said that some Canadian businesses will have to reduce the number of temporary foreign workers they rely on by May 1st, and will have a shorter window to prove that these jobs could not be filled by permanent residents or Canadian citizens. So it looks like also the government wants many of the Canadians to be hired instead of the temporary foreign workers, if possible. But again, we've seen throughout this time and even before that some jobs are just are not filled, unfortunately. And there's a huge labor shortage. And that's why many employers do rely on the temporary foreign workers to come and fill those positions, as they're very in demand. There's also been an exception with this new policy that's coming out. There's going to be two types of workers that will be an exception, and those are construction workers and healthcare workers, or those individuals who work in the healthcare sectors, as we are facing a huge labor shortage in Canada, and these workers are able to enter Canada at the same rate we are at. So this was, especially the healthcare sector, this has been a lot to do with the pandemic that we had, that we noticed that there was a huge shortage that we have, and we did suffer greatly. And still to this day, we do suffer, especially a lot of the rural areas. But the thing is, with a lot of these policies that are in effect or do come effect, we don't really see the repercussions of them until they come into effect. And I guess in some ways we could perhaps foresee the repercussions, but again, we don't really see it until it happens. Now, what I could see is that those labor shortages that we've had before will continue to suffer, and will continue to have, for us to have labor shortages, because we will not be able to fill them. Now, I'm not quite sure how this is going to look for sectors, for example, for seasonal workers, especially within the farming industries. That might be something that would be greatly affected by this as well, unless they make an exception for that sector as well. But so far, it seems that Honorable Marc Miller is moving towards having a more structured, limited kind of immigration policies. Now, again, do we think this is going to be a good policy or a bad policy? We don't know. Again, the repercussions only really come into effect once they're set in place. Now, there are a lot of advocates who are saying that this is completely unacceptable, which we can understand their point of view. Will this move actually help the housing crisis and many other crises that we are having? Not quite sure. Again, this will take a few years for it to actually come into effect and for us to see. But let me know what you guys think in the comments. If you guys have any questions, if you're wondering what are the next moves, what people should be considering, let me know. And again, I really appreciate you guys supporting this channel. If you enjoy it, make sure you follow. And if you enjoy my content, make sure you check out my Buy Me Coffee. I would love your support.